These are the three most powerful offices in New York City. These offices are occupied by elected officials with unique identities and responsibilities and represent the top leadership positions of the biggest city in the United States of America. For a successful decision to be made, the mayor of New York City must navigate the dynamics of these power structures, and it becomes even worse when you are a new and inexperienced mayor. New York City is the biggest city in America, home to over 8 million people. It's a place where dreams come true, but also where many people struggle to afford a home, pay their bills, or find good jobs. For decades, the same types of politicians have run this city, and they almost run it to the ground. Wealthy business people, career politicians from powerful families, people who've been in politics their whole lives. But in 2025, something completely different happened. A 34-year-old man named Zohran Kwame Mamdani, you may have heard of him, someone most New Yorkers had never heard of, became the mayor of the most powerful city in America.
On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City.
He calls himself a democratic socialist.
I am a democratic socialist.
A phrase that separates the city into two factions. One group is scared about what these two words can do to the city.
Extremist, dangerously inexperienced.
He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic city. That's so bad for New York.
While the second group embraces its meaning. Mamdani believes the government should help make life more affordable for regular working families. But here's what makes this story so incredible. Just 5 years ago, Zohran was completely unknown. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He didn't come from a political family. He was an outsider. So how did a young man that nobody knew become one of the most powerful politicians in America? How did he beat politicians with all the millions of dollars and decades of experience? To understand the significance of Mamdani's ascent to power, someone who is considered to be an outsider, we must first understand the system he rose through. If you are enjoying this video, please do not forget to subscribe and hype this video. It's the free thing to do to help us grow this channel, and we promise to bring you more and better content. Thank you for helping us grow. Chapter 1: The New York City Political Power System. The mayor is the chief executive of the city. He decides how money is spent, manages the city agencies like the police, sanitation agencies, and housing departments, and sets the overall policy direction for the entire city. Next is the city council, which is the legislative branch, the lawmakers. The council is responsible for writing and passing the laws and rules that govern the city. They also have the crucial job of approving the city's annual budget. Think of the council as the group that makes the rules and controls the strings of the city's budget. Borough presidents, which are referred to as the local voices, represent the specific needs of the city's 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island. Their role is to make sure local interests and concerns are heard during citywide decisions, such as those related to land, for example, deciding where new housing should be built. They are the primary local advocates for their specific borough. Here is an example of how these offices work together to serve the city. Imagine the mayor wants to build a massive piece of furniture. He draws the initial picture, and he will be responsible to buy the materials. But first, the city council must assemble the piece and decide exactly how much money to spend on screws and paint, etc., so that the mayor does not overspend. Next, the borough presidents are the neighbors who make sure the new furniture fits perfectly in the living room and doesn't block their view. In summary, the mayor oversees the city government and makes big decisions. As new mayor, you must learn to navigate party machines. These are organized political groups that influence elections and policies. Borough leaders, local leaders in each of New York's 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island. A borough is like a smaller region or district within the city. Interest groups, organizations, or businesses like unions, advocacy groups that push for specific policies, big real estate players, powerful developers or property owners who influence housing and city planning, structural inequality, long-standing economic, racial, and social disparities in the city. So, as mayor of New York City, what does it really take to win politically? It takes 3 critical skills. Number 1 is fundraising. Raise enough money for campaigns and operations. Number 2 is building coalitions. Gain support across the city's diverse communities. And number 3 is responding to urgent issues. Focus on key problems like housing, affordability, and availability, transit, subways, buses, and infrastructure, cost of living, managing expenses for residents. Chapter 2. Route of Zohran Mamdani. Now let us go back to before Mamdani won the mayoral seat. What was happening in New York City? Who were the players and how did they play? Before Zohran Mamdani won the mayor job, New York City had a system that was like a very, very old playground. Certain people, the old bosses, had been in charge for many decades, and they decided who got to play. Zohran's rise was an unexpected earthquake that totally shook up and broke this old system. Mamdani did something that hasn't happened in 100 years. He jumped straight from being a state lawmaker, someone who makes rules for all of New York State, to being the mayor of the big city. The last person to do that was a man named Jimmy Walker, way back in the 1925 election. Walker won because he was part of an old political club that operated by making lots of personal friends and giving out favors. It was all about who you knew, not what you promised everyone. Zohran's big fight started small, but it was important. In 2020, he challenged a powerful woman named Arabella Simotas. She was the boss for 10 years in her neighborhood's rulemaking seat. Simotas had lots of connections to the old Democratic Party machine and the help of many rich people who gave her money, major donors. But Zohran, known as the organizer, still beat her and won the neighborhood's rulemaking seat. Why does this matter? Because after Simotas lost, she went to work as a senior vice president for the big group that owns and manages many buildings in New York City, the Real Estate Board of New York. This meant that Zohran's first victory was a win against the people who control the city's housing, enemy number 1 created. Now, let's talk about the mayor who was already in charge before Zohran, Eric Adams. Why did he lose the election? Before the 2025 election, Mayor Adams got into serious trouble. In September 2024, he was accused, or even indicted, of being involved in bad things like bribery, fraud, and asking for illegal campaign money. The worst part is that Adams was the first New York City mayor to ever be charged with crimes while still doing his job. Even though the police dropped the accusations later on, Adams realized he couldn't keep running. He withdrew from the race in September 2025. This massive trouble right at the top showed everyone that the very heart of the city's old political power was broken and corrupted. The stage was finally clear for Zohran Mamdani to bring in a completely new kind of politics. To understand Zohran Mamdani, you have to know where he started. His superpower is fighting for fairness, and he learned how to do it from his family in his first job. Zohran Kwame Mamdani was born on October 18, 1991, in Kampala, Uganda. His parents were famous and very smart. His father, Mahmoud Mamdani, is a renowned scholar who came from Uganda. His mother, Mira Nair, is an award-winning filmmaker from India. His middle name, Kwame, is a special honor from a former president in Ghana. When Zohran was 7 years old, he moved to New York City.
We immigrated to this city when I was 7.
And as he grew up, he saw a strange puzzle. One street was full of very rich people, and the next street was full of families who couldn't afford rent. Zohran realized that this unfairness wasn't an accident. It was designed that way, like a broken toy that someone built on purpose. And if it was built wrong, he believed they could change it. After Zohran finished college, he didn't take a high-paying job. He went back to Queens and became a special kind of helper called a foreclosure prevention counselor.
and today I work as a foreclosure prevention counselor.
This job meant he helped families who were about to lose their homes. He got to see the harsh realities of living as an ordinary New Yorker, how tough it was for people to live in the city. This made him feel an urgency to act. He learned that families didn't just need people to cheer for them, the so-called activists, but they needed someone with real power to speak for them in government. When Zoran decided to run for mayor, the old bosses didn't think he was ready. They called him woefully unprepared. His main opponent, Andrew Cuomo,
he's accomplished nothing. 3 bills are all he passed. He is the worst attendance record in the New York State Assembly.
kept yelling that Zoran only passed 3 little bills when he was a lawmaker. But Zoran had a good comeback. He pointed to a successful program he started, making some city buses free for riders. This idea was so successful that even Cuomo later copied it for his own transportation plan. Zoran said he was proud of his small record because at least he didn't have Cuomo's terrible past filled with corruption, scandal, and disgrace. He showed everyone that even if you start small, what matters is having the right plan and the guts to stand up against the old system.
To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo.
Chapter 3. The Rise of Zoran Mamdani. Zoran's big climb started when he decided to stop just being an eviction prevention helper and start being a decision and lawmaker.
I am running for New York State Assembly here in District 36.
In 2020, he ran for a job that helped him make rules for New York State, called the State Assembly. This was a very tough race because he challenged a woman who had been the boss for 10 years. Zoran won this first big fight by running on ideas that were most important to his neighbors, like protecting people from losing their homes, tenant protections, and changing the rules for housing. He got huge support from a group called the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, who wanted big changes for working people. His victories proved he was becoming a strong new voice. He kept winning this job easily in 2022 and 2024 because no one even ran against him. But Zoran wasn't finished. In October 2024, he announced he was running for the biggest job of all, mayor of New York City.
A mayor could change this, and that's why I'm running.
He ran with a big, bold plan to make life much more affordable. He promised to build 200,000 new affordable homes by spending $100 billion over 10 years.
As mayor, I'll build 200,000 new, permanently affordable, union-built, rent-stabilized homes over the next 10 years.
He wants to make all city buses free for everyone to ride. He wants the city to open its own grocery stores. And he said he would put a freeze on rent for certain apartments. But first, he had to beat the other Democrats. In June 2025, he won the Democratic contest, the primaries, defeating the famous former governor, Andrew Cuomo. This was called a major upset in the Democratic Party. Then came the final mayor contest on November 4th, 2025. Zoran won the whole thing, getting 50.4% of the votes. He became the mayor-elect, ready to take over on January 1st, 2026.
On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City.
This huge win marked his full jump into power, and he immediately started planning, even meeting with Jessica Tisch, the NYPD commissioner, to talk about how to reform public safety. Zoran had done it. The people of New York City gave Zoran Mamdani a clear direction, like a big, loud, yes, do these big things. He won because he promised to fix the most important problem, making New York City much cheaper for everyday people. Zoran has a huge building plan. He promised a $100 billion investment over 10 years to build 200,000 new homes, the special homes. These are not just any houses. They will be permanently affordable and rent stabilized. This means the rent stays low forever. They will be built by union workers and are for families who earn less than $70,000 a year. The city as the driver. Zoran wants the city government to be in the driver's seat for building these homes, not just relying on big private companies. Zoran also promised lots of helpful services for everyone, including free buses. He wants to make all city buses fare-free. This means no more paying money when you get on. This plan would cost at least $700 million. Free baby help. He wants universal childcare, which means help for every family paying for daycare and babysitters. This is a very big expense, estimated to cost between $2.5 billion and $12 billion. City food stores. He even wants to spend $60 million on a small program to open 5 city-owned grocery stores in neighborhoods that don't have good access to food. So, how will Zoran pay for all these expensive and amazing things? He plans to get about $10 billion by raising taxes on rich people and also asking big companies to pay more tax. He specifically suggested adding a flat 2% tax, which is just 2 cents on every dollar, for New Yorkers who earn more than $1 million every year. After he won, Zoran gave a powerful speech. He used it to celebrate a new political order and openly condemn the centrist path of the established Democratic Party. He was not apologetic about his big ideas. He told everyone that the people voted to give him a mandate to implement his agenda, including taxing the rich. Zoran Mamdani's big election victory is like an ambitious construction crew arriving at a giant luxury skyscraper. The people who ran things before, the old political machine, designed the building to make the most money and only care about the private comfort of a few rich tenants. Zoran and his team, the DSA, and all the regular people who supported him were handed the keys and the big job to tear down the interior walls. They are overhauling the whole building to make every single unit affordable. They are even putting up giant shared solar panels to show that the public now has control. The old big men are standing outside shouting that the new plans are too expensive, but Zoran's crew insists that the original design was unfair, and they have the people's vote, their mandate, to build a fairer city from the ground up.